Hello, duelists! If you are a Synchron enjoyer, it is an amazing time to be alive. The Heroes Overframe Synchron cards have been revealed, and we got some amazing support that's supposed to be Synchron only, but we will see about that. The newest revealed card, Synchro Emergency, that you see on the screen right now, is a turn 0 synchro on your opponent's turn, and it enables crazy plays if you're willing to play some bricks in your deck, or it can be a meaningful disruption if you don't want to go full on resolving this card. I've been watching all the combos that players are posting with it. Shout out to all 37 Wolves Discord Wolf Browns. And all the endboards that the players are making, and that is why I decided to give my 5 cents on it and why I think people are making a big mistake. So, Synchro Emergency says you can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. If only your opponent controls a monster, you can activate this card from your hand. You cannot special summon from your extra deck until the end of the next turn after this card resolves, except Synchro monsters, we don't care about that. Also special summon one monster from your hand, but if its effects are negated. Then if your opponent controls a monster special summoned from the extra deck, you can special summon one Synchron monster from your deck. Then, the second effect is from Grave. You can banish this card from your graveyard. Immediately after this effect resolves, Synchro summon one Synchro monster using monsters you control. So, pretty amazing card, because what are the weaknesses of our Synchron deck? Going second. Going second, the Synchron deck is pretty weak. If you don't open Non-Ancient, you had limited pushes. Now with the new cards, you have more pushes, and that's why now you can play Pure, when before that everybody was mixing an engine with it. What can this card do? Actually, you can do some insane stuff going first, and one of the things that you have to notice is you're gonna use this card only after your opponent special summoned an extra deck monster. So if they don't have an extra deck monster, you don't use this because there's no reason to use this. You need to summon that Synchron from the deck, and the Synchron from the deck does not have its effects negated. So you can make some cool things, like you can summon start a Synchron and you can search. You can summon Jet Synchron in a level 4 from your hand. Non-tuner, it can be Jugmeister, it can be Fidraulis, Perulia, or any level 4, like it can be Tengu. And then you can make Speeder by using the effect from Grave to Synchro Summon. And then Speeder is gonna resolve. If you watch the combo videos, you're gonna see some insane boards that you can do in turn 0. If Speeder resolves, it's gonna summon Steam Synchron, which is a quick synchro using this card on your opponent's turn. And then you're gonna get a search, you're gonna get a search from this. And then Steam and Junk Speeder can go into Axel Synchro. Axel Synchro is gonna revive back the Jet, and then you can actually perform another Synchro summon. And what people have been doing is they're gonna summon Red Supernova Dragon, which is gonna be an immune Red Supernova Dragon, and you can use this twice because you're gonna have Assaulting Grave. So it's pretty insane, right? It's pretty insane. And you can use this twice to banish all your opponent's cards when they activate the monster card effect. And there's some other options, of course. You can summon a level 3, let's say, with a 4 to make Black Rose and blow up their field. That doesn't really give you back like follow-up, but blowing up your opponent's field if like they set like 4 cards and you know what they are, like Draco Tail or something like that, it can be pretty valuable. Or you can go with another crazy combo, which is Cool Tune B2B, which is going to be released by that time, which is like a floodgate that increases the levels of your opponent's monsters by 2, which means K9 can't really overlay for 5s. It gives you like a double attack on your tuners, and you can quick synchro twice. So this is insane as well. In the current meta, if you're playing against Radiant Typhoon, if you're playing against Dragotail, if you're playing against any deck that's playing the Following the Virtuous, and this doesn't really work. All the quick plays that they have, like Forbidden Droplet is probably the most popular card in everybody's deck right now because it's so good against Dragotail and against Radiant Typhoon, and it's a quick play, so Radiant Typhoon really likes to play this. So there's a big kind of problem with this turn 0 play because there's so much counterplay to it. For example, if they pop your non-tuner in Junk Speeder, you cannot resolve that combo anymore. Or if they pop Steam Synchron with, let's say they have the Following the Virtuous, or they just droplet, negate your speeder. There's so many things that they can do to stop this, right? And this card says that you need to use it to synchro summon, so a card like the Fallen and the Virtuous that almost everybody is playing right now, even White Forest, Elven Notes, like everybody right now is playing this card, so they just activate this, they pop your thing, and your turn 0 plays are over, and they just get more pluses. And you practically lose, I think, after this. So I think Synchro Emergency as a meme to like make these crazy boards. Also, remember, if you do this turn 0, if they have Ash, if they have like any of these spells, if they have Forbidden Crown, there's so many outs to this. You want to protect your speeder. You don't want to give your opponent like a situation where it's not chain blocked and can just die to one interruption. What if their first extra deck monster is Sartalion, right? They don't know what you're playing. Okay, then game 3, they're not gonna do that. They're gonna play around it, and they're gonna summon Secretarian. If their first summon is Secretarian, all your dragons that you want to summon after that cannot activate. You cannot use Axel Synchro, you cannot use Red Supernova, Crystal Wing, none of that. You can't even use Black Rose. Also, another thing, Fallen of the White Dragon is also super popular right now. And this card can destroy this combo again, because you can end on this and whatnot, and they can just contact fuse into Alvalanatus. This is another reason why I really don't like. So this is the going second trap idea is cool, but if you're not doing that, going first, the board that the people are making right now is looking something like this. So this board over here, this is like a normal combo. They're ending on the Crimson Dragon Quetzalcoatl, which summons back all the Synchro dragons from your grave. So you have Zalaran, which is Zalan, I think, in TCG, Axel, Crystal Wing, Dispatter, Crimson Dragon that can tag into another guy, like I think Shooting or Majestic. Yeah, looking at the levels, I think you target Dispatter and go for Majestic. Then another thing that I saw is people were going for Crystal Wing, Drishin, SMSDs on. This is all great, right? Like, look at this board, right? It has so many negates. It has follow-up, Sultan Grave, SMSD can Omni-negate twice, Crimson Dragon, after you use one of your negates, you can return that Synchro Dragon to the extra deck, and that's another negate. So basically, on paper, this board is unbeatable. But from my experience in playing Yu-Gi-Oh!, if you see a deck that's performing well and does these boards, you're always going to prepare for it. So one Fallen of Albaz just clears this board. You just set it, and you don't have to play the OG Fallen of Albaz. Fallen of the White Dragon says this card is always treated as Fallen of Albaz. So even if you set this card, it is still treated as Fallen of Albaz. So you can contact fuse the whole board for Alba Lenatus. And you're gonna say, yeah, but that's just Draco Tail and all the other decks that are playing this, which are like 10 decks. Like even Sword Soul is playing this, if Sword Soul is to be considered a deck, because it's not really a meta deck. But who knows, and by the time that we get these cards, what's gonna be meta, right? If they hit Draco Tail drastically, if they hit like the branded stuff drastically, maybe we go for something like that. But right now, if all these cards were legal in the TCG, you would just get destroyed by Alba Lenatus. If they have like, every deck has the tools to stop this, right? Of course, probably most of the time they won't have the perfect hand, but you won't have the perfect hand as well. This is not a one card combo. You need to have a level 4 in your hand for the full wombo combo junk speeder thing, right? And they need to not have Ash, they need to not have Droplet, they need not to have 20 more cards, alright? So I think this is not good. You can summon Silvera, book your opponent's entire board, and then on your turn play. But this, again, good against some decks, bad against some other decks. Against Branded and Draco Tail, this doesn't do anything. They can still fuse with their face down monsters. Against K9 or some other decks that like Malice that wants to link their stuff and that wants them in the grave, this can be great. But again, you're kinda need to cut stuff in the extra deck to put this in. You have to focus on this. I don't think it's worth it. Basically, the best thing that you can do, I think, with this trap going second is probably set up like an Omega, because you're gonna summon a 4 and a 4 start the Synchron. Start the Synchron is gonna search you either Synchro Fellowship or Illumination or Signal, whatever you need, right? And then Omega can rip a card from your opponent's hand. You're getting a starter, you have Stardust Engrave, which is an extender, and your opponent is playing with one less card. And if they stop Omega, you don't care. So this is one of the things that I'm thinking, that you really shouldn't go for these insane wombo combo first turn plays. You should just conserve your resources. Then another thing, if you're going first, if you're playing Synchron, a lot of people will tell you, oh, this deck is more interactive than people give it credit. No, this deck should not be interactive. After you resolve Junk Speeder, your opponent needs to have like no chance of winning. This is the whole idea of the deck. Basically, if you're not doing something unfair with Synchrons, you're not playing Synchrons right. You have to end on 100% win after this. These boards that I showed you are worse than the board that I'm doing right now, and without the support. So look, this is my extra deck before the support. So if you've seen my other videos, you're gonna see that one speeder results in 3 hand loops. 3 cards are banished from your opponent's courtesy of Trishula and twice Omega. Then on the board I have the Spotter Negate because we banished their cards. And then I have Croc to pop, because if they set Fallen of Albas, I can pop it. So that's not a problem. They can use, what is it called? Typhon. You can still pop it because this is going to be less than 3000. And the other cards that I have on the field is either going to be like Crystal Wing, or depending on what kind of hand I have, but it's going to be another negate. And this with this and with this, they cannot super poly you, they cannot get a value from like some Dark Ruler no more. Like if they Dark Ruler no more, they have 2 cards left. What are they gonna do with 2 cards left? You still have probably Junk Signal to tribute Crystal Wing and revive Crystal Wing with Assault Synchron. So they're gonna have 1 card left to play because Crystal Wing is gonna negate 1 card. And Junk Signal is gonna revive from the grave. Probably Stardust Dragon as another way of interrupting or something else. So a multi-layer board is way better and competitive Yu-Gi-Oh than 10 negates. Again, this board over here, the only reason why it's not that bad is if you have Junk Signal and they Dark Ruler no more your insane board, you can chain Junk Signal and then Zala negate. But if they have like something like Dark Ruler plus like Droplet or Dark Ruler plus something else, you still might be cooked. So you have to think about what's happening in the meta, what cards to play to fight the meta, and like your end board. Like I've seen a lot of people summon Shenshen turn 0 with this deck. What does Shenshen prevent people of doing? Like cards from the field are banished instead. First of all, this hurts your deck because all your Synchrons are going to go to the banish pile. Of course, you have synergy with the Spatter, you can revive them, but what deck in the current meta loses to Shenshen? Tell me. I'll wait. It's not Vanquish Soul. It's not Dragotail. Dragotail can just fusion from hand and from deck, and this card is just outed right away. It just doesn't do anything. It just doesn't do anything. Another thing is, if you're playing this deck, you're 100% playing the Harmonia card. The Harmonia card is one of the premium disruptions that we have because we're playing the Synchro deck. And to play this, you either gonna have to put Malong or Pagbit to make this work. So it's 2 for 1. You can also just side these for going second, or So if you're going first, just use the effect reveal 6, destroy monster, summon this, and send Omega. And Omega is on your turn, can shuffle something from the grave and itself. And this is a level 7 tuner, so there's another thing that you can do, that you can directly with this and a level 4 brick go into an 11. So yeah, this card is great. This card is great, and there's so many things to think about. There's so many ways that you can build your deck. But I want to tell you what I think is the current best build of Synchrons. So I pulled off all the cards here that are worth considering in my opinion. And I'm gonna tell you which ones I pulled because I think they're good, and which ones I pulled I think they're mandatory. So Junkmeister I think is mandatory 3 off. It's a 1-card starter, doesn't take your normal summon, and facilitates a combo on its own, is very good. Junk Armor is an engine requirement for Junkmeister. On its own, it can also be a 1-card combo, but it loses to 1-hand trap. Assault Sonic Warrior, really good. It's an extender, probably one of the best extenders that we have. It's not a 1-card combo. Like, if you normal this, yeah, it gets Scrap, and Scrap and this can make Scrap Warrior, and then you get Fellowship, and then you combo from there. But this again is super bad work on 1-card combo, right? The Junk Armor and the Assault Sonic Warrior should not be 1-card combo, like, unless you know your opponent doesn't have anything else, and yeah, this facilitates 1-card combo as well. Full Speed Warrior, same thing. You want to have this in your deck though, because it's a very good target for Junk Signal. So Assault Sonic Warrior and Full Speed Warrior both mention Junk Warrior. So this card over here says you can special summon 1 monster except the attributed monster that is Junk Warrior or Stardust Dragon or matches either of them. So Junk Signal now is going to have this and this to summon. It can also summon Scrap, it can also summon Stardust Synchron, but you get what I'm saying. Also, I think playing multiple of this is just bad because it's dead. It just requires a normal summon, right? Also, this can summon from the grave, so you don't need to have this in deck. Stardust Trail is one of the cards that you can cut if you want to play like a cookie cutter Synchron list, but I think this card is really good for giving you more pushes. I think the pure Synchron going second is the problem, not going first. This card with Illumination are ways to play around so many things like Nibiru. You can play around so many effects of your opponents because you can chain block with this card, because this tributes, this tributes, this tributes. There's so many effects that tribute, so you can chain block with this. Not only use it as 2 bodies, it can be 3 bodies. It's really good. I think this card is still got a spot in the deck. 2 Stardust Synchron I think is also mandatory because you need 1 for whatever shenanigans you have, and you need another 1 to summon from Speeder, and it's easily summonable with this. It's searchable with Fellowship. It's a great card. Another thing that you can consider is that now the Junk Signal is in the deck. The 1-card combo Stardust Synchron into Fellowship and getting Chick is not required. You can normal summon this, get signal, signal, get full speed or Sonic Warrior, and then do these combos. This is very bad again. This is, you lose to any interaction, but if you can have extenders, this can happen. So you don't need to play Crossroads Sonic Jig, that's why I put it here. It's not mandatory to play Crossroads Sonic Jig anymore, and this card is still one card combo. Now the new Star Jug Synchron is like a better Junk Synchron. Unfortunately, Star Junk Synchron is not Star then Junk Synchron. When this card doesn't say that it's always like Junk Synchron, if that was the case, this card would be phenomenal. Because Synchro Fellowship adds Junk Synchron and one monster that mentions Junk Warrior or Stardust Dragon, so we need to play one Junk Synchron break in our deck. This one is a better Junk Synchron because it can special itself without using your normal summon and special a level 2 or lower from the graveyard. And the second effect doesn't really matter. Banish this card, Junk Warrior you control cannot be destroyed. You don't even play Junk Warrior, unfortunately. So I think this is a one-off. I think it's a very good extender, but other than that, it's not really anything else. It's searchable by a lot of cards, so it's good. Junk Synchron, mandatory for Synchro Fellowship. Revolution Synchron can be cut, but this card provides very unique extension options. So if you draw this in hand, and they stop your speeder, you go into Axel Synchro from hand, and you continue comboing from there. There's like this thing where, depending on what endboard you're trying to end, you might need the second level 1 tuner with this effect from Grave. So depending on what kind of endboard you're playing and what you're doing, you can play a Revolution Synchron. It's not mandatory, you can cut this card. Assault Synchron is mandatory. You need to play at least one of this because of all the plays of like tributing. This can banish itself from Grave and revive either Axel Synchro, or if you have something like Crystal Wing or Shooting Majestic or your Red Supernova Dragon if you're playing that version. Also this card, but I'm gonna talk about this later. So this is good. Scrap Synchron is very good. You need at least one for the combos. It's not really bad to draw it as well, as you can make Synchro from hand. Jet Synchron I think is also needed because when you Synchro it off, it adds Meister or Armor or Star Junk Synchron, which is 3 extenders. So I think Jet Synchron is really good in the newest build. I talked about Illumination, how it's not mandatory, but it allows you to play around a lot of stuff. Synchro Fellowship, it's mandatory to play at least one. I would not play more copies of this card, guys. More copies of this card gets you to a place where you have unplayable cards. You don't want that. You don't want to play 3 Synchro Fellowship and have to play like 2 Junk Synchron. Again, the game plan of this deck is to set up an impossible to beat board, win next turn. You're not gonna grind with this deck and you're like, resolve Synchro Fellowship first turn, oh I'm gonna resolve Synchro Fellowship second turn as well. No, you're not gonna do that. If you need to do that, you've already lost. Junk Signal, a phenomenal card. It's really searchable though, so you don't have to play 3, but I think 3 is good. You can get it with full speed, with Scrap, with Meister, and with Stardust Synchron. It's a really good card. Tributing a monster can trigger the effects, as we said, with Assault Synchron. It's very good on the end board. If you didn't need it, you can utilize Zalen to negate anything. So it's a very good card. Now, Synchro Emergency, we already talked about this. If you're gonna play this, you have to think, do you wanna tutor into a crazy combo like the Red Supernova Dragon, which requires you to play bricks, like Steam Synchron, and some players are using wheel Synchron as well. So I would say, think about what is good in the meta when this is out. Basically, is Black Rose going to be devastating? Is you can even make Immune Satellite Warrior in your opponent's turn if you want to play Satellite Warrior instead of Red Supernova Dragon. You can do whatever you want, but think about what your non-engine is, because you want to tutor into summoning a non-tuner from your hand and a tuner from your deck that make a perfect balance, right? So for example, I'm thinking of playing all these level 4s, summon Stardust, make Omega. Stardust gonna first search one of these 3, so next turn I know I have place, and I'm gonna rip a card, right? And this is pretty nice body. Ripping a card, the idea is that they added some card that they need for combo. You rip a card from their hand, maybe they can't continue their combo. Your turn returns to hand, and this is on field. Synchro Rumble is not mandatory, but it increases the ceiling of the deck if you're playing Crimson Dragon. That's another thing. You don't have to play Crimson Dragon anymore, since you have Crimson Dragon, Quetzalcoatl, my bad. There's a lot of builds that you can do without Crimson Dragon, but that will mean that you're no longer going to be using all these crazy shooting Majestic Star Dragons, or like the big synchros that usually you can't make, so you're changing them out. You don't have to play this in the main. Also, you can side into it going first. Now Will Synchron, again, this again is, everybody's thinking, oh, now Will is good because you can use the trap, summon a wheel and any Synchron from deck and make any plays. I think this is very bad. I think this card is another brick. It doesn't accomplish anything on your turn or going first if you draw this in hand. If you're going second, you draw this, and this is like a lottery because you're playing one off and you have like, I usually gonna say that the Synchron deck is gonna be 40 plus cards because you don't want to see some one-offs. So this, I think, is bait. Just don't play this. You can still make insane boards without this. Crossroad Sonic Chick, again, this was really played in our deck right now to facilitate a one-card combo with Stardust Synchron. Now that we have Junk Signal, I think this won't be as necessary. And now that we have Assault Sonic Warrior, so you can cut this. Tunic is a consistency card. Again, you know my opinion on Tunic if you've seen my other videos. I think this card is bait. I think you lose to draw and to other stuff more than winning with Tunic. More games you're gonna lose because you have this card in hand instead of, like, let's say a Scrap Synchron or Stardust Synchron. The cool thing about this is you can trust into this, but other than that, like, if you bait an Ash with this, you're a god, but if they know what they're doing, they're never ashing this. And yeah, this doesn't really increase the ceiling of the deck, it increases the consistency of the deck. But this card can get you into your bad one-card combos with Stardust. And let's say I don't think it's good enough. Reinforcements of the army, on the other hand, can get you into Meister, Armor, Assault, Full Speed, uh, and these guys, Star Junk and Junk Synchron. You're never searching Junk Synchron, but looks like it's an extender instead of tuning. This is actually a decent extender and a starter. So probably we're gonna play Reinforcements of the Army. Steam Synchron, I think, again, unless you're playing this crazy Synchro Emergency deck list, don't play this. But in this card loses to so many things. But if you wanna high roll, or maybe you can side this when you know that you're gonna go second, and try to make a big board. Emergency Teleport is a one card combo with Assault Sonic Warrior being legal. So this, if you don't know, summons this gets you this. And this special summon, because you have Side Reflector on the field, this can get you Scrap. Scrap goes into Scrap Warrior, and you get Fellowship, and you full combo from there, right? It's not bad. It's an extender also. I would say this is going to be played. Don't play the field spell. It's just the Assault mode field spell. What is it called? Dual Evolution Assault mode, Assault Zone. Don't play this because, again, this plays into draw. You just need Psy Reflector. You can normal summon this, get this, special this, and if you have another extender, if they stop this, you're good. So you basically want to have more pushes. So I think we're still playing this. Now Harmonia, I think, is gonna be mandatory for this deck. It's one of the ways to compete. When this is out, I think everybody's gonna be playing this. So you gotta be careful, because your opponent on your turn 0 stuff, he can also do this. And we need a more resilient speeder line so that we don't lose to this, because this can be a pop and put something in your spell and trap zone. So yeah, I think this card is gonna be great for us, but it's gonna be really bad against us. Then here you have like whatever non-engine you want to play. You can put... I put here Mocharmies because of the trap. You can skip playing the trap, and you can play just a consistent Synchron deck. If you want to play 40, you can cut one signal also, or you can cut the trap and just play like Droplet or something. So you can play Droplet instead of that, or you can just play 2 Droplets and play 40. But I don't think that's how you should be playing this deck. Also, going second is the problem, right? So if this card helps you going second, you should play it. Just your extra deck, probably play this in the side deck, so you know when you're going second, you can Synchro Emergency and Black Rose them. I think this card is really good, but again, if the meta is Draco Tail and Albaz Slop, this card becomes exponentially worse, because your end board is going to be 5 dragons. And I think, like, I remember playing Yu-Gi-Oh in the past where machine decks were a thing and everybody was just siding Cyber Dragon, and with Cyber Dragon they would just contact fuse your whole board for or Fortress. So if that was the case before, I think it's gonna be the case again. People were just gonna side Fallen of White and just destroy your dragon board. Also, new rocket support is gonna push Dragon Link maybe, so probably people will have that anyways. Imagine if they super poly your board into 5-headed dragon. That's gonna be insane. So think about what decks you're playing against. Don't just solo mode combo with this deck and be like, oh, this is insane, I have 10 negates. Think about how you're beating all the cards, how you're beating Super Poly, how you're beating Dark Ruler. So Dark Ruler, if you don't have Junk Signal, like your board is just dead. So my final thoughts, try to play less bricks. Try not to make insane combos turn 0 because probably they're gonna backfire. Try to protect your speeder at all times when possible. And basically utilize your advantages, which is Harmonia and your very unfair going first combos. So that was Winter Chill. I'll see you guys in the next video.